Jack Murphy's been tweeting again recently.
Oh, he's
And
back.
a bunch of us were talking about like, should we try to, because we had this idea months ago to have him on and have him go through all the memes. And he didn't seem open to that. And then I saw him tweeting recently and I'm like, okay, I can tell by these tweets that he is thinking about things. Like, okay, so this was just on last Saturday. Anyway, and it's interesting because I'm going to read this thread and tell me what you think, because I feel like he's not been taking me up on this idea of just kind of going through these memes. He doesn't have to like talk about every single thing, but I just think doing a funny, lighthearted stream would help endear him to people. But here's what he tweeted out last Saturday. Lots of people have distanced themselves from me after the porn incident. If it is because I offended your deep sense of morality, then I salute your standards. If it is because you're afraid of blowback from the haters, then I don't know. Real friends revealed themselves for sure. So I read this and I was like, oh, I'm like, is he talking about me? I'm like, I've certainly reached out. I've tried to get him on shows. And then he said, my entire social media life has been about transformation and evolution. Heck, my book is called Democrat to Deplorable. I've never claimed to be enlightened or perfect. I'm just a guy on a journey. Change means, and then it's kind of like all these, I don't know, motivational phrases, I'm on a journey. Change means frictions. And I'm like, I feel like with people, like, it's now been 6 months since this incident he had at Blaze with Sydney and Elijah. And, people forget, like, I think what led up to this, and I forget who reminded me. Oh, it might have been Ashton, actually. Like, when he was on Tim Pool, he at one point said, like, a girl is, if she's 15 or so, she's in her prime. Like, he said some questionable things.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Yeah. I'm like, there is a context in which maybe that makes sense.
What, like in the 1500s when they were marrying girls off at 15 because they lived to be 30 and died in childbirth? Like,
exactly. Like, but like, yeah, in 2022, you can't really say that. You're gonna sound like a creep.
Yeah.
And so now it's been 6 months since this incident, and maybe he's not seeing his following spring back. Maybe he's not seeing like customers come back, and I'm reading through this thread and I'm like, he still thinks it's about his like sexual past. He still thinks it's like, oh, so big deal, I did porn. It's like, I think he's not seeing people come back to him because they've lost respect because he actually lied about who he was. Because some of those Chatterbait videos, like, he still had his Jack Murphy classic beard and he was currently like doing speeches. He was, Jack Murphy influencer. So it's not like the past was so in the past. It was in this sort of recent past. And all right, I'm going to keep reading this thread here. And I don't know. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Believe me, I spent a lot of time wondering what would have happened if I just had a canned answer to deflect or had been better prepared for the intensity of the haters. I didn't, and I wasn't. Big mistake for sure. I've avoided talking about it, partly due to advice I've been given, partly because it's painful. But I've learned recently I won't be able to move forward until I incorporate this into my story. So here we go. Was it funny? And did I deserve to be a lol cow for a minute? Sure. Does everyone who ever associated with me deserve to be hounded forever? Definitely not. See, he's doing this post because he cares about, like, I mean, you can argue that anybody who's online is self-absorbed, but it's like he's making this about other people. Like, I don't know. I just feel like he wants his own brand to bounce back, yet he's saying, oh, does everyone who ever associated me have to be hounded forever? It's like, okay, I think that's probably a very small part of what's bothering you. I don't know. Maybe call me cynical. I don't know. So I'm going to keep going. One of the biggest mistakes, and this is what I liked, one of the biggest mistakes I made was not getting out in front of it at all. I fucked up and I hoped it would fade into the past. But there's an army of dedicated haters who worked for years to hurt me. I should have accepted that earlier and dealt with things up front. My bad. Funny thing, I've always been public about my thoughts on sexuality, which are vastly more sex positive than many or most on the right. My first several podcasts were about sex, relationship, non-conventional relationships, desires, fantasy. It was all out there. Somehow, despite that, it became a figure on the right into which people projected their own sense of right and wrong, or their prejudices, or their hang-ups. Over time, I just wanted to talk about the other things, so I did. People don't like it when you aren't what they thought. I'm a creative artist. I was a professional musician. Okay, I feel like this part is irrelevant. He's just trying to talk about how he's creative. As my fame grew, people built an idea of who I was in their head, despite the fact my early podcasts and like 100,000 tweets are all out there. I think a lot of people's egos were shook because I wasn't what they had built me up to be in their head. Whose fault is that? As a content creator and interviewer, it's my responsibility to remind everyone of everything I've ever done or written. So they have a complete picture. Do I have a responsibility to disclose every single mistake I've made? Maybe my role is to speak and for the people who believe in strong families and the Constitution and apple pie and baseball, but who also like to bang and have fun. You can be a good dad and have a wild sex life. You can believe in natural rights and not be a prude. You know, at the end of the day, my content has always been about what's on my mind, what's going on in my life, what questions I have. I just feel like talk is cheap and he should have done a video response right away. Like, we still have not really seen a video response from Jack, and it's 6 months later. Like, yes, he did that one interview with Benjamin Boyce, I think his name was. What's up, Britt?
Hey, Brittany.
Hey.
We were just talking about our good friend Jack Murphy. No, I just feel like I don't know, Brittany, if you've read through that thread of Jack's or if you follow what he does anymore, but I think to me it reads like he's just upset his career hasn't bounced back yet, and he may not actually have a lot of perspective. Let me see what the chat is saying.
Brittany, you're muted.
Uh-oh. You muted. Oh no.
The first podcast I ever went on, I was muted for so long and I did not know.
Nobody told you?
No one told you that. We're like, woo, we really like this girl.
You know what it was? I think it might have been the one I did with Gino, if I remember. And I was like talking and they're like, we can't hear you. But for some reason I couldn't hear them either. So I was just like, it's so embarrassing.
Oh no.
Okay, and Bellico feels like women love talking about Jack Murphy because it's empty drama. Men don't want to hear about it anymore. Maybe you're right. Maybe I am interested in it because I was someone who kind of was chatting with him, and I think I just appreciate it when people have self-awareness.
I don't think men like drama, period.
Some men love drama.
Some do. That's true. What were you gonna say?
I think what you offered him to come on the stream and to like make fun of himself was really a great idea, because I think that's what it really comes down to is like he's still trying to defend it. And it's like we all make mistakes. People do that, and if you're able to like laugh and just poke fun at it instead of holding on to it and trying to, you know what I mean? I think your idea was great. And he should take you up on that.
And I think people enjoy a redemption arc.